Members, the committee substitute for SB 1 that is before you is comprised of the budget recommendations that this committee adopted over the last few weeks. The committee substitute for SB 1 also includes all fiscal year 18-19 critical items that were originally identified in House Bill 2. Those items will still be funded via the Economic Stabilization Fund. After I finish laying out the substitute, I'll recognize the LBB to walk through an Article 9 rider that provides for the use of the ESF for these items. The rider also provides some additional conforming direction for agencies and a couple of other items that provide for the full use of the $2.5 billion in the ESF. I want to say, members, that I'm very proud of the thoughtful and transparent process that we have undertaken to get to this point. This committee substitute spends $104.3 billion in general revenue, and combined with a very modest appropriation from the ESF, in fact, the most modest on a percentage basis that we've ever done, around 20%. At $2.5 billion, overall state spending is reduced compared to the current FY 16-17 budget, despite inflation and despite population growth. And so I want to repeat that because I know we get asked often, what is the inflation times population number? The spending is reduced compared to the current FY 16-17 budget, despite inflation and population growth. I think that's a pretty dramatic statement in terms of how difficult this budget, session is, and it is really a recognition of all the effort that you all have put to help us get us to a point where I think we have a budget that is going to very respectfully meet the needs of Texas. The budget balances by cutting spending, prioritizing critical items, and using a modest amount of the ESF for the exact purpose for which it was created. This budget also maintains this body's commitment to using dedicated funds for their right purpose. And as you all know, the House has led in making sure that if we're going to do these GRDs, then let's do them in the right purpose. The budget does not rely on budget gimmickry that puts the state's investment in transportation at risk. We think that the ESF is the money that should be used. We shouldn't be using state highway funds or pretending to use state highway funds. The committee's work has resulted in a budget that meets the needs of our state within the resources that are available. This budget funds the state's priorities, including border security, critical needs at CPS, and the shortfall in the state's health insurance plan for the retired teachers. And I think all of you all heard today how important that is. This budget refuses to undermine our state's future. That's a credit to each and every one of you on this dais. It refuses to undermine our state's future. The committee substitute for Senate Bill 1 provides $433 million in new general revenue for DFPS. This includes a few items I'll share with you. Maintains the resources provided to address critical needs at CPS and improve agency performance. It provides for additional FTEs in 18 and 19 that will work to reduce caseloads and enhance caseworker retention. It increases provider reimbursement rates to 95% of the cost including the foster care redesign areas. And it expands foster care redesign into 2 new catchment areas. It provides $62.6 million in GR to eliminate the current and projected waiting list for community mental health services for adults and for children. It provides $105 million contingent on passage of legislation produced by the House Select Committee on Mental Health. It provides $93 million in GR to provide mental health services to the former indigent clients of the North Star Behavioral Health Program. Pays for critical deferred maintenance needs at our state hospitals and state-supported living centers. It increases general revenue spending for public education by $1.5 billion. Increases spending for public education by $1.5 billion. That's real money. Contingent upon Chairman Huberty's school finance reform legislation, HB 21, which all of us are very familiar with. It includes $147 million to enhance the pre-K capacity. Includes $500 million for the retired teacher health care. Maintains funding for border security operations, provides $49 million to Texas Parks for weather-related constructions, provides 3 additional mental health counselors for the Texas Military Department, increases funding to $10 million for Texans Feeding Texans program, maintains funding for homeless housing and services programs, provides $8.4 million for public drinking water programs. Representative Lawley, good work on that. And it includes the transfer of $5 billion in sales tax revenue to the State Highway Fund. And I want to repeat that. It includes the transfer of $5 billion, full $5 billion in sales tax revenue to the State Highway Fund.